What's going on, friends, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a planning video and specifically a unit study plan. Now, if you aren't familiar with a unit study, that is basically just a compilation of all of the lessons and activities based around a theme and planning, putting them all together so that you can work on all of those skills while also focusing on a given theme. I hope that makes sense. So today we're going to have anatomy as our umbrella theme, and then all of our different subjects and topics that we are going to cover within that are going to be related somehow to anatomy or to that theme, even though we will be accomplishing different skills and concepts while we're going throughout our unit study plan. Now today, for the first time, I'm going to be doing a digital editable planner so that I can really show you guys exactly what I'm doing. I won't have to focus the camera on the computer screen and worry about a glare and all of that. But I also want to tell you that this editable digital planner is available to you as well. I will leave the link for it down below so that if you are finding that this is kind of up your alley when it comes to planning, or that you would rather transition or try out a digital planner, then that is available for you to do so. I found that I actually really like it, and to have my plans on the computer rather than having to track down a piece of paper or remember where I set all those millions of thoughts has been a lot better for me and a lot more meaningful to my planning process. And I really hope that this will help me once again to just stay organized so that I can pick up where we left off. This digital planner has a weekly lesson plan, weekly planner just for anything and everything else, whether you have doctor's appointments or co-ops or things just already on your schedule, maybe your work schedule you can include in here too. And then it has two separate pages for specifically lesson planning. Lastly, there are two separate areas for you to have a checklist and plug in whatever you need to put in on that checklist with three separate categories. So let's say that you have 3 kiddos, you can put their checklist on there separately, or if you want to do like home, work, and homeschooling, you can do that. So the opportunities are endless, especially when it comes to having something that is editable and you can personalize and customize it to fit your needs. Now, I will say that I don't plan to be married to this plan. I am going to fluctuate as we need to, or if we come across like needing a day off or needing to finish up something from the previous day, everything will still be here for me to jump in where we need to, leave off when we need to, and all of those things. And I encourage you to do the same thing. When you're homeschooling, it's important that you remain flexible and that you work with what you've got and you just work around what you need to. Don't stress yourself out, because all in all, it's going to be accomplished. You're going to be able to teach your kiddos what you intend on, and they're going to get it whenever you need to plug it in. So I recently shared with you guys that my son wanted to really dive into the human body and learning more about the body parts and the functions of the organs and all of that. So we decided that anatomy was going to be the theme for our next unit study, and I just took this and ran with it to plug in different topics that I wanted to cover in other subjects while all still relating back to anatomy as a whole. So as always, the first thing that I did was hop on to our state standards and pick all of those that I wanted to do, and then relate what the standard says to what we're specifically aiming toward in this unit study, and then kind of tie in whatever else that I needed to. So I'm going to kind of show you how I do that in my plan. I first started with language arts. That's going to include our reading and writing focus. This would also be like any kind of comprehension skills or inferencing, different things like that. Okay, so I have shared with you guys that my main focus with my son is to really get comfortable writing. As a young reader, those decoding and skills that they will use like for spelling, like sounding out, I also want those to transfer over into our writing. So that is the main focus of what we're doing with writing, just getting more comfortable sounding out the words, having a capital letter at the beginning, a space between words, all of those different things, punctuation at the end, forming a complete sentence. We're really focusing on those skills and like building a strong foundation before we move on to anything else. I will say right now his most dreaded subject is writing, so I usually kind of back off and let him do it on his own, at his own pace, so it doesn't become something that he loses interest in or doesn't really enjoy doing later on. It's more important to me that right now he enjoys doing it so that we can kind of build that rapport for education as a whole. So we're focused on writing. There are going to be some writing components that you will see in the activity that I built for this entire unit study. And then with math, we're going to be working on measurement. For social studies or our civic skills, we're just going to be taking the information that we are finding and applying it to new information or researching. All of those things are tied in with our civic skills and really like our social skills. So like understanding what you're reading, applying different things from our history to what we're learning about now. And you'll see later on in what I'm going to be talking about how I was able to kind of tie that in and what we are going to use as a little bit of a detour to help satisfy that standard. And then lastly is science. And of course, everything that's going to come along with our anatomy unit plan is going to be science-based. So I'm not really going to worry about nitpicking for the standard, because in first grade, Texas doesn't really have like a specific anatomy standard. We're kind of going off the beaten path here, but that's okay. Okay, and then for each of the days that you will see on this plan, I went in and tried to really pick one subject focus to build our resource around. And so each day you'll see that I laid out like a reading or a math or a social skills focus, but that doesn't mean that we are not compiling all of the other things into and throughout our lessons and our discussions and all of those things. It just means that our main focus, what I really want to be sure that we check off the list for that day in a huge chunk, is going to be whatever subject you see written in that day. So for instance, Monday, we're going to be having a reading focus, reading about the facts to really get us warmed up for the whole unit and kind of give a big overview of what we're going to start off with first. And for this, it happens to be the systems of the body. And so let's switch over real quick and let me show you what I have created using Canva to build our unit study resources. I have shared with you guys before that I absolutely love using Canva. First of all, because it's free. There are a lot of different templates that you can use on there to build on top of whatever you're needing to use. They even have like invitations and birthday cards and stickers and all of those, but I mostly use them for worksheets or building a mini book like I'm about to show you right now. So I was able to build this on Canva and create 24 pages worth of stuff that is going to be included and discussed in this unit study plan. So I first started with these first few pages of what I wanted to do, and you'll kind of see that they're linked to what we're talking about every single day. This will help me to kind of use that as a guide as I go. So if we have Wednesday that we're learning about the skeletal system, then that will help me to know that like, okay, we need to be on this page and this page, or we need to make sure that we finish this activity before we move on to the next thing. So not only does it serve as a resource for my son, but it's also kind of like a marking tool for myself. And I'm going to use that to kind of help pace these next few weeks as we work on this unit study. One of the other reasons that I love using Canva is because you can incorporate your links in there. You can tie directly to like a YouTube video, which is what you're going to see me doing on this video. I'm able to just incorporate everything that I need to, or if there are instructions for an activity that I need to have a quick link to so that we can just get to it and go, I won't have to go back and dig in and look for it anywhere. You can do that directly into your lesson plan on here or with anything that you're building on Canva, which is, like I said, another reason that I absolutely love it. Okay, so I'm gonna speed up the rest of the screen recording of my planning just so that you can get an idea of what that looks like along the way, but I'm not gonna bore you with all the nitty-gritty details, but I am going to show you a few of the other resources. You may have noticed that in the little scroll that I did, I had like suggested videos, and this is because I will be sharing this resource with you guys. I will also leave that link below, so if you're interested in having your early elementary kiddos do something related to anatomy, this would be perfect for you. I'm going to include all of the videos that we'll be using as well as this mini book, and then there are some activities and direct links that go to those activities so that you can have access to this unit study if this seems like something that you're interested in yourself. I also found from Playing Tots, they had a matching organ activity, and this is from Teachers Pay Teachers, so something separate, but I love that they have the little pieces to cut out, so I'm gonna be laminating this, and then here is what it matches to, and the circles are for you to put those little Velcro dots. So once this is laminated, this can be an activity that my son keeps to work on whenever he wants to. It's kind of like a review. Same with the mini book. I intend for him to keep that, and then we can go back and revisit it. That's something that he can go and look at to read independently and kind of have a reminder of the things that we learned in the lessons that we have done. And like I always say, it's a really cute keepsake to see where they are now versus when they're 18 and how much they've grown in the process of homeschooling. I hope that this unit study plan has been enjoyable for you to watch, and maybe you got some inspiration or some ideas to plan one of your own. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, I would love to help you in answering those. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if this is your jam, and I will see you in the next one.